Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going deep into the world of coaching.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, we're going to be checking out 3 websites that each have a really unique take on what makes coaching so valuable. Our world is getting more and more complex, right?
Absolutely. It seems like every day there's some new challenge or opportunity to navigate.
Exactly. So we thought it would be interesting to see how these different coaching websites are addressing that complexity and what kind of guidance they're offering.
I'm all ears. Let's dive in.
Awesome. Okay, so first up, we have Uta Arnold Coaching. They're based in Germany, and they have a really interesting approach. They're not just coaching individuals, they're coaching for a better future, literally.
For a better future, how does that work?
Well, Uta Arnold facilitates these things called living room conversations. Participants come together and envision a positive future, and then they actually discuss how to make that vision a reality.
Oh, wow. So it's like a collective brainstorming session for a better world.
Exactly. And get this, some of the visions that have emerged from these workshops are pretty inspiring. Participants envision things like politicians who prioritize wisdom and actually speak with kindness.
That would be a welcome change.
Right. And a united Europe that actually becomes stronger because of external pressures.
Interesting.
Oh, and even a revitalized Hamburg with a swimmable Ulster River as a central gathering space. Kind of cool, right?
Yeah, I love that. It's like they're tapping into a collective yearning for a more, human-centered world.
I think you're right. A desire for kinder politics, stronger communities, a healthier environment. It's like they're saying, hey, coaching isn't just about personal growth. It's about creating a better world for everyone.
I like that. And were there any other visions that came out of these workshops?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It wasn't all big picture stuff either.
Yeah.
They also envisioned things like a resurgence in small-scale farming,
Okay.
Germany becoming a global hub for innovation, and a work-life balance revolution where AI handles all the mundane tasks, freeing up our time for, more meaningful pursuits.
Now that's a future I can get behind. So it's not just about, fixing the big problems in the world, but also about creating a more fulfilling life for ourselves, right?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. It's about recognizing that personal well-being and societal well-being are kind of interconnected.
I like that. Okay, so Ida Arnold Coaching is all about coaching for a better future. What's next on our list?
All right, next up we have Blissful Miracles, and they're taking a completely different approach. They're using AI to address something called organizational trauma.
Organizational trauma. What's that all about?
So they basically present a case study of this fictional company called Style Forward that's struggling to implement AI because of past traumas that are still kind of like impacting their culture and decision-making.
It's like they're saying that companies can have emotional baggage just like people, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that this baggage can actually prevent them from moving forward.
Interesting. So how do they break down this organizational trauma?
Well, they identify 3 layers of it: leadership trauma, cultural trauma, and operational trauma. And they even give real-world examples, drawing parallels to companies like Blockbuster, Nokia, and Toys R Us.
Oh, wow. Those are some pretty high-profile examples of companies that, kind of failed to adapt to the changing times.
Exactly. And Blissful Miracles suggests that a big part of their struggle was this unaddressed trauma.
So it's like they were held hostage by their past, unable to let go of those old ways of doing things.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. They were clinging to their old strategies and structures even when it was clear they weren't working anymore.
Okay, so how does Blissful Miracles propose we address this organizational trauma?
So they offer what they call a 3-step repair kit. It involves rewiring leadership, healing teams, and updating policies to create a more resilient and adaptable organization.
So it's not just about, implementing new technology or achieving specific goals. It's about creating a healthy foundation for growth and innovation, right?
I think that's a key takeaway from Blissful Miracles.
Yeah, very interesting. All right, what's our final stop on this coaching tour?
Okay, our last stop is Brulac Coaching, and they take an agile approach. They've noticed that a lot of startup founders struggle to find solutions to their challenges simply because their challenges are, so unique.
Yeah, I can see that. Especially in the startup world, things are changing so fast, there's no rule book for a lot of the challenges they face.
Right, and Brulac points out that just relying on advice from others or, pre-existing solutions, it can be tricky because every situation has its own context, its own history, its own resources.
It's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Sometimes those generic solutions just don't work.
Exactly, and that's where Brulac emphasizes the value of this agile approach to coaching.
So what does an agile approach to coaching actually look like?
Well, it's about asking the right questions, providing a safe space for exploration and empowering individuals to come up with their own solutions.
It's less about giving someone a map and more about teaching them how to navigate,
Oh,
right?
that's a great way to put it.
So Brulac coaching is all about empowering individuals to find their own way. I like that.
Me too. And I think it aligns really well with those core principles of coaching, about helping people tap into their own resources and become more adaptable and resourceful.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we've got Luda Arnold, Coaching for a Better Future, Blissful Miracles using AI to address organizational trauma, and Brulac Coaching emphasizing agile solutions. 3 very different approaches, but are you seeing any common threads here?
You know what? I am starting to. Yeah, I am
Yes.
starting to. It's like on the surface, they seem like totally different approaches, but underneath it all, there's this shared belief in the power of coaching to help us navigate complexity and create a better future, both for ourselves and for the world.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, think about it. Each of these approaches is essentially saying that the world is inherently complex and challenges are inevitable. But having a coach, or at least embracing the principles of coaching, can make a huge difference in how we navigate that complexity and overcome those challenges, right?
Okay, I see where you're going with this. So Yuta Arnold's approach taps into our collective desire for a better world.
Right.
Blissful Miracles helps us deal with the baggage, the stuff that's holding us back.
Mm-hmm.
And Brulac Coaching empowers us to find our own solutions amidst all the craziness.
Exactly. And it all comes down to this idea that the more possibilities the world throws at us, the more we need guidance to sort through those possibilities and make wise choices.
It's like having a compass in a constantly shifting landscape, right?
Mm.
Coaching helps us find our bearings and chart a course.
That's a great analogy.
Right.
And just like a good compass, a good coach doesn't tell you exactly where to go, but they do give you the tools and the knowledge you need to find your own way.
So are you saying that everyone needs a coach in today's world? I mean, it sounds like a pretty good idea, but is it really essential for everyone?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that everyone needs a coach, but I do think the principles of coaching, things like self-reflection, open-mindedness, being willing to experiment, those are incredibly valuable for anyone, regardless of what they're facing in life.
Okay, so even if we don't hire a professional coach, just embracing those principles can still make a big difference.
Absolutely. I mean, take those living room conversations that Yuta Ahmad facilitates, for example. You don't need a coach to get together with friends, family, or colleagues and just brainstorm ideas for a better future.
Right. It's more about the mindset and the approach.
Exactly. And think about Blissful Miracles' idea of addressing organizational trauma. That same principle can apply to our personal lives as well.
So you're saying we can also do sort of personal history harvest to figure out what patterns and behaviors might be holding us back?
Exactly. And then we can start to address those underlying issues and create a more supportive environment for ourselves to grow and change.
That makes sense. And what about Brulac Coaching's focus on agile solutions?
Yeah.
Can we apply that to our personal lives as well?
Absolutely. I mean, being agile is all about being adaptable, open to new approaches, and recognizing that there isn't always a single right answer.
Yeah, it's about being comfortable with uncertainty and willing to experiment and find what works best for you.
Right. It's about saying, hey, I don't have all the answers, but I'm willing to explore and figure it out. And that's a really powerful mindset to have, especially in today's world.
So it seems like what we're really talking about here is that all these different coaching approaches are just highlighting a fundamental truth. The world is complex, we all face challenges, and having a coach, or at least embracing those coaching principles, can make a huge difference in how we navigate it all.
I think that's a great way to put it. And ultimately, it's about recognizing that we all have the potential to create positive change, both in our own lives and in the world around us. And coaching gives us the framework and the support to actually unlock that potential.
So as we wrap up this exploration of these 3 unique approaches to coaching, what's the one thing you hope our listeners will take away from this conversation?
That's a good question. I think the biggest takeaway is this. The more complex and uncertain the world becomes, the more valuable coaching becomes.
I love that, because it really underscores the idea that coaching isn't just a luxury or a nice to have. It's a vital tool for navigating change, overcoming challenges, and creating a future we're actually excited to be a part of. Okay, so we've talked a lot about these different approaches to coaching, but now I want to shift the focus to you, our listener.
Yeah, this is where the rubber meets the road, right? What are you taking away from all of this?
Exactly. As you've been listening to us talk about Yuta Arnold, Blissful Miracles, Brulac Coaching, what's really resonating with you?
Maybe you're feeling inspired by that idea of coaching for a better future, or perhaps you're recognizing some of those organizational trauma patterns, not just in companies, but maybe even in your own life.
It could be that Brulac Coaching's emphasis on agile solutions really hit home for you. Whatever it is, we encourage you to really explore those thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, ask yourself what's one area in your life where you could really benefit from some coaching. Or even just think about one small step you could take today to, embrace some of these coaching principles.
And remember, you don't have to hire a professional coach to get started. Sometimes just asking yourself the right questions can be so powerful.
Totally. Like, think back to some of the things we've discussed today. What are your values? Where do you want to go in life? What's holding you back? And what kind of support systems do you have in place to help you overcome those obstacles?
And most importantly, don't be afraid to experiment. Try new things, step outside your comfort zone, and embrace the fact that growth and change, well, they always come with a little bit of uncertainty.
Exactly. And remember, the world is full of possibilities, and you have the power to create a future that truly aligns with who you are and what you want to achieve.
I think that's a great note to end on. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of coaching, we just want to leave you with a sense of optimism and empowerment. The journey of exploration and self-discovery never really ends.
And the insights we've talked about today, well, hopefully they can serve as some helpful guideposts along the way.
Absolutely. So keep asking questions, keep pushing boundaries, and keep diving deep into the world of ideas. Until next time, fellow knowledge seekers.